Hey, welcome back to the Relentless Positivity Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Martin. Got a very interesting guest today. She's got a very important message for you. Her name is Grace De Angeli, and she is in Australia right now in Melbourne. It is midnight. She's sacrificing. She's out here hanging out with us at midnight on her time. So she's been through a lot in her lifetime, and she's got some important messages, like I said. And mainly what she's going to talk about today is when you get that diagnosis of breast cancer, where do you go from here? So, Grace, thank you so much for being on here.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe. I'm super, super excited.
I can tell she's got a lot of energy for midnight. I don't see midnight very often, so I appreciate you doing that. So
Yeah.
let's kind of start with your story. When were you diagnosed with breast cancer?
Okay, so I was actually diagnosed in August 2018. So that's a routine check that I get done. My mother had breast cancer. Being the fourth member of her family, they sort of put us in a high risk category. Didn't necessarily mean we had the BRCA gene that you hear always about. So I was just going through my routine test, about to go overseas, catch up with my husband when I get this follow-up phone call saying, hey, your results are back and we found something. So 99, this is 99% of the time it's nothing, but you got to have a biopsy. So that's where the journey pretty much started. So yeah, from August 2018.
So you get
Yeah.
that phone call. I'm sure your heart just kind of drops. So what was going through your head at that time? Where did you go
Well,
first? So
to be honest with you, because they sort of said it's 99% of the time, it's just a fatty tissue. I didn't really think anything of it. I was actually 2 days away from traveling to Peru to catch up with my husband. And I sort of said that. And they said, it's okay. When you get back, we'll do the biopsy. So after traveling Peru for a bit, I got back, did the biopsy, which was like on a Wednesday. The Friday comes, and that's the moment of truth. That's the moment that you're sitting there, doctors, hi, how are you? How's your day? And I'm sort of get to the point.
yeah.
And that's when she said, I'm sorry, but you have breast cancer. That moment that moment was the most surreal moment of my life. The first thing I actually said was, I'm so sorry. I turned to my husband and I said, I'm so sorry. And I remember him looking at me saying, why are you sorry? There's no need to be sorry. But my mother had passed away with cancer, not breast cancer, but a uterus cancer. So I said, Mum, I'm so sorry. I just kept saying that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. How do you feel in that moment is surreal. It's I guess, it's like people who have a dramatic experience, and that moment where everything just slows right
Yeah.
down. Yeah, so that's pretty much my first reaction. Yeah.
I bet. Anytime something like it's always one of those like this. Why does this happen to me? This happens to other people, not to me. This is so strange. So, you get the diagnosis. What's the first thing you do? Where do you go from there?
Okay, so the first thing what happened was my surgeon actually said to me, "We've got to get this out. We've got to get this ASAP." I remember my husband in Italian saying to me, "Grace, don't sign anything. Let's take a step back." And I remember looking at him thinking, "Are you serious? She's telling me I've got to get this out." Now, what she was expecting of me is to have a lumpectomy done. Lumpectomy, I'm hoping I'm saying it right, where they remove the tumor, but she also wanted to take out lymph nodes, which is general, because what they do is they make sure it hasn't spread there. However, she kept saying to me, if I can't find your lymph nodes, I'm going to do an axillary clearance of all your nodes. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, whatever it takes. So the first thing which I highly recommend anyone to do is, and as soon as I got in the car, my husband said, you need to put a dream team together, Grace, right now. And I remember 5 of our closest friends and family, I sent him a text message of the people who I wanted on my team and said, I've just been told I got breast cancer. We need to get together right now. So that was the first thing. Taking the time off was the first thing, like as in not getting operated straight away. I wanted to take a step back. That makes sense.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
to really understand what was happening, because sometimes and which a great friend of mine, Shane, has said to me, Grace, don't make decisions based on fear. And I use that to today. And that's what happens. You get into this fear mode, so you will sign away your life at that moment. So that's exactly where I started. I put a dream team together of people who were holistic, who were Westerners, who had no idea, who were, one guy was MS-DOS, we called him, because he knew everything out there. And I put them all together. So we were 7 with myself and my husband. And we pretty much sat down and started to figure out what's the best way of tackling this. And that's where I went from there.
That's an
Yeah.
awesome concept. I think we all need a dream team in life, right? I'm gonna start getting me one of those.
Absolutely.
That's a
Honestly, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it.
So you guys
Yeah.
are gathering all this information, figuring out the path forward, and you meet with a surgeon. What questions do you need to ask your surgeon?
Okay. So basically, you want to know, what type of cancer it is. Has it reached your lymph nodes? In my case, until I had the operation, which by this stage I still haven't been operated. We're talking now. Uh, August is when I got diagnosed. I flew out to Peru straight away, and I'll speak of that in a moment. But what it is the questions you ask your surgeon are basically, what are my chances of this coming back? What is involved? Um, you know, the thing is, actually, I should go one step back. And my surgeon, my second surgeon, actually said this: get a second opinion. This was actually from my second surgeon, who actually said, get a second opinion. Um, Most women with breast cancer don't realize, unfortunately, when women are told they have breast cancer, they have to do a double mastectomy, which means removing both breasts. Most times, not all the time, but most time, it means they also have to have a hysterectomy,
Hmm.
because the hormones kick in, and there's a greater chance of getting another cancer in the ovarian, uterus, things like that, or basically ovarian more. So they get told to have a hysterectomy. The question is, do I need to get a hysterectomy? Can I freeze my eggs? All of these questions need to be considered for a woman. It's not just a matter of, oh yeah, get rid of my breast, see you later. We're talking, if you're a woman in your 50s, 60s, and you've had your children, or you don't want to. In my case, I was 47. It's fair enough. You can say, well, I've moved on from that part, whatever it takes. Ask these questions. What are my chances of getting this back? Things like that. A lot of people, which I actually went, when I finally got operated, I had to go and see a radiologist and an oncologist. And I started to ask the questions of the pros and cons. And I always say, disclaimer, this was my journey.
Right.
My cons were higher than my pros. And I'll give you an example: as radiation. Being the left breast, had I had radiation, I would have had a high chance of getting a secondary cancer in the first 5 years, or a very heart condition,
Hmm.
because it hits the heart. Oncologist, there was a higher percentage of getting a secondary cancer than there was of dying in the first 5 to 10 years. So again, that was my case. And that's where you've got to really ask these questions. And, I have that available for people, where there's 20 questions that you can actually ask. So yeah, the more questions, the better.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think you're right. That people just when they do have that diagnosis, like, oh my gosh, they just freeze up and you just tell me what to do without being their own. And you got to be your own health advocate for sure. So,
Correct.
and you got a whole team
Correct.
together, not just you, but your husband and the
Absolutely.
dream team. So when you are recovered, what was your road to recovery like? What was that like for you?
So basically, well, like I sort of mentioned, I started my recovery because my strong belief is that if you have any type of disease, you've got to heal the mind, you've got to heal the soul, you've got to heal the heart. Doesn't matter what you do to the body. If you don't heal that, it's going to come back. So that's what took me to Peru. I started working with shamanic medicine, and I started my healing that way. So I started to pretty much detox what was going on, the traumas that I was carrying in my life. So that really helped bring up a lot of my past, because, like I say, was I surprised I got cancer? Yeah. Was I surprised I got cancer? No,
Mm.
because I've carried traumas from my childhood and things like that. So that's where my journey pretty much started. So detoxing, when I talk detoxing, people think detox the body, have your, juicing cleanse and things like that. That is fantastic if you want to go down that road. Absolutely all for it. But what I mean by a detox is detoxing your home, detox your environment, detox your friends and family. These are things that are around us that we pretty much don't realize that can make a big impact on our road to healing. So I had to start learning to love me. I didn't know what it was like. I'm 47 years old and I have no idea what self-love really means. A lot of people say, of course, I love me, I love me. Do you? Do you really love yourself? So it was a matter of finding that inner strength and that inner voice to really say, hey, you matter, you know,
Yeah. Do
you
you remember
absolutely
back when you
matter.
first had that kind of breakthrough? Is it okay? I do love me. Do you have kind of a moment where you're like you could feel the tide turning?
Yes, yes. I remember thinking, you know what? There's more to life than just what it is. There's got to be more to this. I matter. And I remember thinking, I was on my own. I was actually in Bali doing a detox. I was doing Ayurveda. And part of that is also purging. When I say purging, purging emotionally. And I remember thinking to myself, I looked at myself in the mirror and I remember saying, I love you. I love you. And that takes a lot of vulnerability and a lot of courage. A lot of people can't do that. So it was that moment where I started walking in the bathroom and saying, I love you, Grace. I really love you, Grace. So that really changed for me. And that was pretty much, again, this is all prior to me getting operated. Um, so because by the time I got operated, whether you call it a miracle, whatever you want to call it, they couldn't find the cancer.
Oh,
So,
wow.
but you know what I mean? So I had to start with that, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So
so,
that moment, yeah.
so you fast forward today. What do you do now for as prevention, doing your checks? What do you do now for your breast cancer?
Okay. So every year I've got to go and do my yearly checks. I got to go, which ironically, this time next week, I will have my checks done. So fingers crossed. I've been already 3 years cancer free. But it's just a matter of just keeping up your doctor's appointment. I know that, what happened in the last 2 years, I wish with lockdown and that, I was pretty, I appreciated my surgeon keeps saying, no matter what, you come and do this. So I was really happy about that. Stay positive, love yourself unconditionally, and be the most authentic self. I always say to people, be authentic to yourself. If you're having a great day, great. If you're having a bad day, great. Just learn to get through those emotions, deal with them. Don't sit and unpack your luggage. So it's a matter of just, it's not me going in and positive, positive, I don't, float around. Life is life, there are days that's going to get me down, but what do I do with that? And it's turning that into like, this is happening for me. I always say it's happening for me. There's a bigger reason behind this. So it's a matter of staying true to yourself. Yeah.
Man, that is a huge mindset shift. If you can just say, "Hey, life is always working for me," man, that it really change things. If you look back through
Absolutely.
all the terrible things you've been through, they guide you to where you are right now. I'm sure you wouldn't trade
Absolutely.
that for the world. So,
No.
you've led an interesting life, ups and downs. And what are a couple life lessons you could share with us from over the years that might help somebody?
I believe honestly it comes down. I know it sounds like a cliche, but being authentic. I can't stress that enough because as I said, I was 47 years of age when I started to be my authentic self. So the first thing I would say is be authentic. It doesn't mean you have to go around being nasty to people. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about shutting people off. If there's someone in your life that doesn't, it's not working, or, a friend, a relative, it doesn't mean you just, you know, sort of turf them to the curb. You just basically spend less time with them. Say, look, right now I'm going through my stuff and I really appreciate you. I adore you and I send you so much love, but I'm going to go down this road and you're going to go that road. The other thing is tell yourself how much you matter to yourself. I mean, imagine standing in front of the mirror and say to yourself, I've got your back and nothing is going to happen to you. I've got your back. You say that to yourself, it sends shivers down your spine, but you're being true to you. So that's what's happening. That's the best thing I can say, honestly. Yeah.
That's it. Because nobody really likes fake people.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody likes being a fake person down deep either, though. So being your true, authentic self is awesome. So, so
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
there's maybe someone out there right now that's listening that they just got that diagnosis, they've got that,
Hmm.
they don't know where to turn. What would you say to that person right now?
Again, the first thing you do, get yourself a dream team. I'm not talking about your medical dream team. I'm actually talking about the 5 closest people that can support you. They're going to be there. They're not going to break down. You don't. I get that there's people that you're going to lose people around the time, and that's okay because some people don't know how to handle it. So
Right.
you're going to lose people along the way. It's okay. Send them love. What you need is people that are going to be there, that if the day comes where you feel like life has got you on on all fours down, you are rock bottom, you're going to have someone laying beside you screaming, don't give up, keep going. I'm right here. They're the people you want. They're the people who are going to encourage you to remember who you are. So I would say definitely get a dream team together.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
We all need that someday. You're gonna have good days and bad days. You really need them on those bad days.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
um, let me. What's something positive that's happened in your life lately?
I looked at that and I just thought every day that I get to wake up is a positive day. Honestly, every day. Being a cancer survivor, every day is a great day. No matter what, it's a great day. So, positive is just speaking to people like yourself. I find that if I'm at service, I am now. Look, you asked before, or you said before, these things happen no matter what you go through in life. There's a reason behind it. And I believe that I'm at service for others. That doesn't mean I'm out there being the next, motivational speaker or coach or whatever. It means I'm at service, even if it's the first person that walks down the road and crosses my path, and I'm there to help in some sort of way. So I think that is what's positive because I get to do that now. And every day we want to make sure that if we had to check out tomorrow, God forbid, train, bus, who knows, then you're going to go, you know what? Great, I'm ready to check out. So I think that's really important where you stay in your center. Stay in your center, even when there's like a whirlwind, there's a tornado, whatever it is, cyclone, stay in your center. Go home and you'll feel so much better every day.
That's it. Hey, if you woke up today, you got a chance, right? If you're breathing, you got a
Absolutely.
chance. Good things can happen.
Absolutely.
Good things can
Yes.
still happen. So, what's the best place for people to follow you and keep up with you?
Absolutely. So they can get me on www.theangelsofgrace.me. There you'll find all about myself. I also have an online store because I work with a lot of holistic things as well, like crystals, just things in your home to make the energy feel better. And as we speak, I'm actually putting together a course where I just talk a little bit about step by step of what people can do. It's not the medical side, it's the personal side, it's the healing side, it's the things that the doctors forget to talk about. They're there to help you on the medical side, but on a psychological and a spiritual side, you need to reach out because it is tough on someone, even to the point whether you've just been diagnosed or whether you've just been told you are cancer free. Believe it or not, people still struggle emotionally and psychologically. So definitely reach out. The angels of grace.me.
And I'll link that in show notes in case you can't spell very good like me. So I'll put that in show notes. You can just click on it. Hey, Grace, thank you for being of service today. You helped somebody today. Somebody needed to hear your words today, and I appreciate you sharing those.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you so much for having me, and I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. And if you're listening to this right now, please share this with somebody. You never know who it might could help, and it may just hit them at the right time and change their life. If nothing else, help them to get that dream team. Everybody needs a dream team, whether you're going through cancer or not. Hey, Grace, keep up the awesome work, and I'd love to keep up with you as well.
Thank you so much. Same here, Joe. I appreciate your time. I
All right.
really do. And I appreciate what you're doing as well.
Absolutely. All right, everybody go share this message. Keep up with Grace, and we will see you next episode.